Thank you for joining us. Imagine if we were living a few hundred years ago, long before all the conveniences of the world today, when back then everything from agriculture to carpentry and the manufacturing of just about every product was so labor-intensive and much less productive. Throughout the ages, talented people all over the world have contributed to society, and one would hope that the great progress in knowledge and education and technology and medicine and all other areas would lead to sensible and inspiring solutions in our world. It certainly has in many ways, and our program today will focus on a few of the products and devices that enhance our lives, enabling us to be more efficient and productive. Many of these were created in Israel.
Healthcare costs are bankrupting America. The cause is federal overregulation. Unless a free market is restored, no one, including government, business, or individuals, will be able to afford the high cost of health care. My new book, Pharmacracy, exposes the corruption that causes needless suffering and death while our nation sinks into financial ruin. The solutions in this book can save Medicare and improve the lives of aging Americans. Pharmacracy provides an irrefutable basis to stop the suffocating impact of healthcare regulation. The benefit will be better medical technology at far lower prices. Fight back against corruption. Pharmacracy shows how we can tear down bureaucratic barriers that push healthcare costs beyond the reach of the American people. We can do it.
This essential book is only $24, and you'll also receive a free subscription to Life Extension magazine. Get your book today.
Don't miss the Atlantis Sensational Summer Special. Book now and your fourth night is free. Plus, receive up to a $400 airfare credit, now including summer travel. And kids stay and eat free. Enjoy a taste of Atlantis Pass valued at over $150 with free drinks and tastings from select Atlantis restaurants. Plus, free unlimited access to the largest water park and casino in the Caribbean. The Atlantis Sensational Summer Special ends soon.
Haifa is a beautiful city. It's beautiful because of its physical setting on the bay overlooking the Mediterranean, but it's also beautiful because of its people and because of the spirit of tolerance and community and coexistence. I started at GE Healthcare, a great example of an American company that has made a very successful investment in its technology development by basing operations in Israel. Here they manufacture ultrasound equipment for cardiac patients, and it's very high-tech medical equipment that was developed here, is manufactured here, and exported to hospitals around the world.
What we see here is the position of the 4 chambers. This is the mitral valve. It's looking good.
Yeah.
You can see
a nice flow of blood.
Yes.
Madatech, the Science Museum, which is set in a historic building that used to house the Technion, a beautiful building which now has very exciting exhibits that don't just teach children about science, but actually draw them in, get them excited, let them put their hands on it, let them really experience. That's the best way to get young people excited about science. They've especially come to enjoy the new Noble Energy Science Park that's based at the museum. I had a chance to try some of the fun attractions there, including riding a helicopter in a rainstorm. I can't wait to go back with my kids. America Day at the Haifa University, where the U.S. Embassy brought our experts from our consular section, our cultural section, our education exchange programs, and our commercial section to help expose the students of Haifa University to the kinds of exchanges and the kinds of cooperation that we can do between the United States and Israel. I met with President Ben Zeev. I addressed students at a town hall meeting and heard some very interesting and challenging questions from them. I ended the day with a visit at Beit HaGeffen, an Arab Jewish center in Haifa, which brings together Arab and Jewish residents of the city to work together on a range of projects. I heard that peace between people of different communities, different religions, different backgrounds is possible. It's possible when people decide that what's most important is finding the common humanity that they have with their fellow human beings, whatever their background. That's a message I hope will spread throughout Israel, throughout the Middle East, throughout the world. People here in Haifa have a lot to teach the rest of the world.
That door I just closed with one finger weighs 400 pounds. Welcome to Plasan at Kibbutz Sasa in northern Israel. Today I had a chance to visit a place that really exemplifies the support Israel gives to the United States security. I'm here at Kibbutz Sasa in northern Israel, just a couple of kilometers from the Lebanese border. And here at the kibbutz there's a company called Plasan, which manufactures armor for fighting vehicles like the one behind me, body armor that soldiers and police would wear, armor for other kinds of safety requirements. This kibbutz has produced the armor that has outfitted thousands and thousands of MRAP vehicles and of other fighting vehicles that have been used by American troops in Afghanistan and Iraq. It's specially designed to protect the people inside the vehicle when the vehicle is shot at by a RPG or when it goes over an IED. It's no exaggeration to say that thousands of American service members' lives have been saved by the work and the technology that's been developed here. They do extensive research and development on these products. They do advanced ballistics testing with every kind of bullet or weapon that the troops might encounter in the battlefield. And the result is the most advanced life-saving armor that can be applied to a military vehicle. This was a great opportunity to come and learn about the work that's done here, to protect American lives on the battlefield. I also had a chance to meet with some very inspiring young people in an organization called Bereshit L'Shalom. This is an organization that brings together young Israelis from all backgrounds, Jewish, Arab, Christian, Muslim, Druze, Circassian, to teach them to use performance, dance, art, song, music as a way of building bridges across communities. It's run by a very inspiring couple here on Kibbutz Sasa, Yehuda and Edna, and met with children and young people from around the world to try to build bridges and create bridges to peace across the world.
Perhaps you think you know about Israel. But did you know that with a population of only 7 million, less than 1/1000th of the world's population, Israel has developed a range of important technologies that help save lives while helping us to live better ones. For example, the first cell phone was developed by Motorola at their largest R&D center located in Israel. Microsoft, Cisco, and Intel also have major R&D facilities in Israel. An Israeli company, Given, developed an ingestible camera that fits inside a pill and is helping doctors provide better diagnoses and treatment. Israeli scientists also created the first fully computerized, no-radiation diagnostic instrument for breast cancer. Israel has produced major breakthroughs in drip irrigation to reduce water required for agriculture, has led in solar power innovations, and was the only country to begin the 21st century with a net gain in the number of trees, a remarkable achievement for this desert country. There are more scientists per number of workers in Israel than anywhere in the world, each one of whom is busy working on innovations that will improve the health, safety, and productivity of all of us. When you really know about Israel, you'll be amazed at how much this little country is doing to help your life and the lives of the ones you love.
How do you win a Nobel Prize, make the Forbes 400 list, or become a leader in your field of endeavor, whatever that may be? And how can you always perform at the height of your abilities? By making sure your thoughts are an expression of who you uniquely are. Clearly, we are all individuals. No two people's DNA is the same. Our fingerprints are unique. Even among twins, facial features vary. But just as we don't look alike, we also don't think alike. Everyone's thought process is different. Is this something to be embraced, or is it something to be abhorred? Many societies abhor it. A few don't. But listen to this amazing statistic. 90% of the world's wealth lies in the 20% of societies that embrace individuality.
There are societies which, in some ways, emphasize and encourage and reward autonomy and individuality. And there are others that say that, well, your role is not only to be autonomous, but that there are certain things that have to restrict your autonomy and choice.
When you look at some of the more collectivist societies that do not tolerate any questioning of the state, they are willingly giving up freedoms they never knew they had or could have because they still believe in that greater good, that greater collective good tomorrow, and they haven't come to the conclusion yet that it will never come. But when it comes to invention, and you know, when you mention Einstein, I think that what attracted him to this country is we give someone the credit. You give them the credit, give them the freedom to work, and give them the credit, for heaven's sakes. You know, at least put my name at the end of the movie or something, you know. And I think that's something where in a collectivist society, that's considered selfish.
But the fact of the matter is that even the Chinese recognize that unless they allow for individual initiative and individual expression, then they're not going to be at the cutting edge of ideas and development.
Individualistic societies recognize that when we celebrate a person's individuality, we are encouraging a set of ideas and concepts that nobody else can have. A point of view totally unique, a new color, a new look on life, a new facet to the diamond. If you're not convinced, let's look at a simple barometer of individual thought, the number of patents for new inventions. On a per capita basis, the number of patents registered by collective societies is minuscule compared to those of individualistic societies. For an example, the state of Israel, a tiny country with less than 8 million inhabitants. However, it has a fiercely individualistic culture. In the last decade, it has registered more patents per million in population than all of Latin America, China, Hong Kong, India, Africa, Turkey, and Malaysia combined. In Jewish tradition, we often look to the life of Abraham for behavioral guidance and an understanding of who we are and how we should conduct ourselves. The Bible calls Abraham the Ivri, which basically means the entire world had one perspective and he was on the other side.
In Judaism, everyone has to find his or her own pathway to God or to existence. You have to do your own thing. There's a very famous saying, Hakol tzafui v'hareshut netuna, which means everything expected, everything is preordained, but you have some choice to get there.
When you think of the great accomplishments in art, music, literature, all the sciences, they're always led by people who did something extraordinary because they had a unique, individualistic way of thinking. They had a revolutionary creativity that shed new life on old problems, new mathematical formulas, important breakthroughs, produced new cures for diseases. None of these would have been possible if these individuals were content to see the world like everyone else.
Tikkun Olam is about doing whatever we can to help wherever we can. From an early age, Israelis are taught to take responsibility not only for themselves, but also for others.
Volunteering basically starts when you're a teenager, but I think that everyone, once you start volunteering, you keep on doing it for the rest of your life. When you're adults, you just always want to carry on giving.
Yeah, we were raised with the fact that you have to help, you have to give something back to your community. Like, that's what we do.
But Tikkun Olam is not just about taking care of our own community. It is about helping the world by striving to exemplify and promote goodness wherever we can.
Hi, today we're going to show you how we'll update this car with a must-have feature. This is a 2003 Lexus, in good condition, but it doesn't have the bells and whistles a new car has. Today we're going to Off the Hook Auto Accessories, a shop that specializes in auto accessories, and they're going to replace the old radio with a new Clarion navigation unit. Here we are today at Off the Hook, a leading car shop installer here in South Florida.
Hey, how you doing, Jack?
Good, how are you? So what do you have for me here?
All right, we're going to put some modern technology into your older vehicle. We're going to upgrade your stereo system with some navigation, DVD, radio, all in one piece. So I'll get you up to date on your vehicle, kind of like what you'll find in the newer cars nowadays. First thing we're going to do is we're going to actually take your old unit out of the car. So we'll be taking your car apart, and then we'll prep the radio out here on the bench, so we'll get everything ready where it's a lot easier than working inside the car. And then the final process is going to actually be installing the vehicle back, the radio back into the vehicle, and finally assembling your car back and making it look like if it was stock, like if the radio belonged there originally. Got our manuals here, install manual. Put that off to the side. Okay, so along with the radio, we also got this Metra kit and Metra harness. The Metra kit was going to fill in whatever void around the radio to make it look like if it's a factory install. And the harness is actually going to be what allows us to interface this into your vehicle so we don't have to cut any factory wiring or anything like that. Saves a lot of headaches down the road.
So when purchasing this unit, there are other parts needed from a different manufacturer?
Absolutely. Basically what happens is the radio manufacturer knows how to manufacture the radios. Their specialty is just radios. You got companies like Metra that make the installation kits. They've taken the time where they make these parts to make it a lot easier. In the old days when these things weren't available, we had to make them by hand. What's really nice is companies like Metra will provide you with an actual manual to show you how to take the car apart. So the guesswork is out of it. Detailed, picture illustrated, lets you know what you have to take apart so you're not spending time taking stuff apart that you don't need to do. So what we're going to do is go ahead and start taking the car apart and get ready to put our new radio in. We removed everything that we need to. The radio is actually ready to come out at this point, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Simply, once everything's unbolted, radio simply just lifts out, and we got plugs back here that we want to release and remove, and that'll be the final removal process of the radio. Okay, so now we're following the directions that came with the Metra kit. First part is that we're going to actually take these brackets off the factory radio, because we're going to go ahead and transfer that over to our aftermarket radio. So that's what we're doing now. As you can see, it comes apart. I've already did the other side already, so this will pretty much just fall out right there. And this is what your factory radio looks like by itself. So at this point, what we're going to do is prep our stuff so that we can start getting the new radio to retrofit into the factory brackets. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come and take our factory AC controls and put them back into our kit. That's a simple process of just sliding it over and lining up the screw holes with our radio. Now we're at the point we've already modified the kit to fit the factory AC controls, and at this point what we're going to do is go ahead and actually put the kit that's all together on top of the radio, and this is basically what's going to happen once it's installed in the car. And this is what our finished product is going to look like inside the car. So now look, you got a nice factory finish. You got the latest technology on an older vehicle.
So this is very interesting, Joe. Where are we at now with the process?
Well, at this point, well, we've obviously completed installing the radio to the Metra kit. So now you can see how that looks. And now we're actually in the wiring parts of it. All right, a lot of these newer vehicles use interface modules now. This is an access piece that's made by Metra. And what this allows us to do is a lot of the cars now talk to each other digitally to interface our aftermarket radio to your car. As you can see, there's plenty of wiring here that has to be done. So it's, a little time consuming. It's something that you really need to know what you're doing before you could just get in and just do it on any of these cars. At this point, we went ahead and done our wiring harness. You can see this is the wiring harness that was provided by Clarion for the Clarion radio. This is the access piece made by Metra, and pretty much plug and play at this point. And the only other hard wires that we're going to have to do once we get into the vehicle is going to be your reverse for your reverse camera as an add-on if you wanted to add that to your system, and the parking brakes. The parking brakes will allow you to actually view DVDs once the handbrakes are pulled. Well, we're back in the car right now, and we're almost at the point where we're ready to put the radio in. A couple things that we're going to prep for. This is one of the most important things when updating your radio system with GPS navigation. This is the actual GPS antenna, and in the older days you had to mount them somewhere outside externally or whatever. Because of new technology, we're able to actually hide this underneath the dash now and not have this showing anywhere, as long as you have it mounted somewhere where it's non-metallic. So underneath the dash, where it's all plastic, is a great ideal place. And actually, if we can zoom in over here, you'll actually be able to see that there's a big space right in there where I can actually mount the GPS antenna. At this point, we've already installed our GPS antenna, and now what we're going to do is we're going to actually plug in the main unit, which is going to be our radio. And once this is done, we're going to go ahead and start putting our radio back together, do all our testing, and hopefully have a new updated radio for us. We're ready to do our final install of the radio. As you can see, we got everything plugged in, a little tight right there, and the radio is just going to go back in its place where it was, and we're just going to secure that down with the screws and put our dashboard back together. Now we're at the home stretch. We're just bolting her back in, getting ready for the last final trim pieces to be put in, and we'll be set to go. So the last panel that we had to get in was our top panel right here. Got screwed down, put our trim piece back together, and as you can see, the install is complete. We got this nice new upgraded radio. Looks like a factory radio install, and you got all the latest technologies on there now. And we're going to show you that in a second.
Wow, this looks amazing.
Here are some of the new features that we've added to the stereo versus the factory Lexus radio that was in here before. You can add a rear camera to it, which is really popular nowadays, to add a camera, so when you put the car in reverse, you actually can see behind you, and it's a safety feature that everybody has. As well as the USB audio, you can actually do USB video, and the same thing with iPods. You can get the optional cable to watch iPod video on this unit. And the most important thing is going to be our Bluetooth phone and our navigation. Navigation is going to give us the GPS that you find in a lot of modern cars, and now the biggest thing too is everything's about safety. So hands-free Bluetooth gives you the capability of still being connected and answering your phone calls while keeping your eyes and hands on the steering wheel and driving safely down the road.
This is really amazing what modern technology offers.
It's endless. I mean, if it's out there, it can be done.
Hey, Joe, thank you. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I hope you enjoy it.
This concludes our special show for today on technology, gadgets and devices that enhance our lives. I'm Richard Peritz. Thank you for being with us.